Hey everybody, I hope you guys are having a great day today. I was going to make a sorceress guide recently, and as I was writing it up, I realized that a lot of the things I wanted to talk about kind of need to be covered in a general guide. For example, breakpoints are pretty important to know. So in this beginner guide here, I'm going to go over what a breakpoint is and how it works, so you have a better understanding when you come to the classes on how to improve your character. So this is just one example of why I'm making this video. On top of that, Diablo 2 Resurrected just recently got announced, and as we know, a lot of old veterans are coming back after 10 to 15 years of not playing. I've seen quite a few posts on the Reddit and the forums where they just lost all of their knowledge and so much has changed that they don't really remember anything. So this guide is not only for those players, but of course the new generation of players that have never played Diablo 2 before, and there's a lot of painful things that you can do in this game. It's very unforgiving. For example, if you mess up your build, you only have one respec at the beginning, so if you mess that up, you will actually have to make your character again. So it's reasons like this that I really wanted to make this beginner guide for anyone that's either new or returning to the game. So with that being said, let's get straight into it here. So as I was mentioning already, I want to talk about skills first. Skills are the first thing we need to talk about because there are two parts of it that can make or break your Diablo 2 experience. Firstly, Diablo 2 is not like most games, such as Diablo 3, where you can reset your skills for free and at any time you want. You only have one respec early on, which is available at Akara when you complete the Den of Evil quest. You can get two more by completing the Den of Evil again on Nightmare and Hell difficulty, but in order to access those, you need to kill Baal in the current difficulty. So no access to the other two respecs, you'll only get one on your character until you beat Baal on normal in Act 5. Now, other than that, you can actually kill each boss in Hell mode, and they will drop an essence for you. If you can get all 4 essences, you can transmute each one in the cube, and it will create a token of absolution. You can farm these tokens as many times as you like. However, just keep in mind that this is in Hell mode, so you will have to have beaten the game completely in order to get your infinite respecs. Now, the second part that's really important to know about the skill system is that the skills, for the most part, require a heavy investment in order to remain valuable as you progress through the game. As a new player, you might be tempted to put a point in every single skill because you want to test it out or experiment with it, or you might put, say, 3 or 4 points into multiple skills. This is actually a very big mistake if you're looking to have a smooth journey through the game. And if you're looking to go into the other difficulties, it's going to be very difficult to deal a meaningful amount of damage. So if you can, in normal, experiment if you like, put 1 point into everything, but you don't want to waste too many points. For example, you might have, say, Charged Bolt. You might put 3 or 4 points in that. But then in Firebolt, you might have 6 points, and then in Ice Bolt, you might have 2 points. You definitely do not want to do this. So I highly recommend you find a build or a couple of skills you like and then stick to it. But I know that's easier said than done because if you're new to the game, you kind of want to try everything out. So in normal mode, you can kind of get away with this, but make sure you don't waste your respec. Save that from the normal Den of Evil for when you want to go into a real build. So since you can actually get away with the mediocre build and testing in normal for the most part, if you plan to progress into the other difficulties, just make sure that when it's time to respec and focus on a few skills, that you actually have a build in mind. This is where actually looking up YouTube videos or guides is a good idea. Most cases, I don't really like this. For example, when I was playing Classic WoW, everyone's telling everyone to play Fury Warrior, to play Frost Mage, I always have been that player where play what you like and what you enjoy. But in the case of Diablo 2, you got to be really careful with that because, again, you only have that one respec. Alright, for the next section we have stats. When it comes to stats, most of your points should be going into vitality. You should not be distributing your points randomly into strength, dexterity, vitality, and energy. I noticed this was actually happening quite common on streams when I was watching the Diablo 2 alpha, and it's actually quite surprising because it is an old game, so I'm kind of in the mindset of everyone's not new to the game, but I was seeing some very new player mistakes where they were putting random points in, not even thinking about it. So the only time you want to put points into strength is if you need to equip a certain piece of gear. You might get a piece of gear that requires 50 strength and you only have 35. Yeah, you're going to have to wait a few levels to equip it, but it's better than having, say, 60 strength at level 10 and absolutely no life whatsoever. In terms of dexterity, it's kind of the same reason. You only want to put points in there if you need to equip a piece of gear, or if you're following a build that calls for max block chance. Don't go blindly for max block. It's really dependent on what class you're playing, what shield you have, and so on. Otherwise, strength and dexterity really only for gear. Otherwise, you want to go completely into vitality. Energy is not that big of a deal. You have mana pots, and you get super strong mana pots later on as well. So in most cases, you don't even need to touch energy. Now, it's hard to say when exactly you should put into strength or dexterity, because honestly, it really depends on your class and your build choice. For example, if I'm playing a barbarian, I like to go mace mastery and dual wielding 2 scepters in Act 1. It's just super strong, and since the scepters only require 25 strength, I can actually go pure vitality at the start, since the barb already starts with 30 strength. Now, when I hit level 7 or so, I'll start building towards 41 strength and 35 dexterity, because the next maces I plan to dual wield are flails when I get to Act 2. These are examples of where you put stats and when early on in the game really depends on what build you're going and how prepared you are. So otherwise, honestly, it doesn't really matter what you decide to do with your stat points. If you want 40 strength before you leave Act 1, that's perfectly fine, as long as most of your points are going into vitality. Now, if you're looking for a more specific guide in regards to what stats to get, when, what skills are good, what skills are bad, recommended builds, I will have multiple guide videos very soon in the near future for each and every class, whether it's for normal, hell mode, magic finding, endgame, all that different stuff. So if any of that interests you, those future videos, I suggest subscribing stat. Alright, boss packs. Boss packs and champion packs are harder versions of a monster. They are easy to spot in the game due to their different color, and if they're in the shadows or in a different room, you can usually tell by the lighting of the area. You still kind of want to keep an eye out though, because these are your main sources of experience, and with boss packs giving 500% bonus experience and champion packs giving 300%, it's too much of a reward to just risk missing, so always keep your eye out for those boss packs. Also, they're one of the best ways to find loot, especially when you get to hell mode. It's not just about bosses. Back in the day, it used to be mostly Mephisto runs, for example. It still is good to do Mephisto runs, but nowadays, a lot of people have learned better, and we are now magic finding boss packs much more often. Boss packs are very dangerous, and they can spawn with a modifier. When you get to the later difficulties, they can spawn even more than one modifier, and the modifiers are random. There's many types ranging from extra fast, extra strong, or multiple different types of enchanted. For example, a cold enchanted boss will cast a frost nova ring around them when they're killed. A fire enchanted boss will explode its own corpse when killed, and a lightning enchanted boss will shoot out charge bolts whenever they get struck, and even more when they get killed. When it comes to hell mode, it is important to check these modifiers when you see a boss pack, as many combinations can be very deadly and easily one-shot you, and this is even more important, of course, if you're choosing to play hardcore. Alright, we got shortcuts next. So to sell items instantly, hold the control key and left-click on the item when you're at a vendor. This will sell your items instantly to the vendor. It's very nice and convenient if you're selling an entire inventory of items. To instantly buy a stack of an item, hold shift and right-click the item at the shop. This is especially useful if you're trying to buy a bunch of scrolls at once, a bunch of keys, or even potions for your belt. You can also buy items quickly by holding shift and left-clicking the item repeatedly. This is useful if you're trying not to fill your entire belt with the same potion, and of course if you're just buying a couple of scrolls, it's just another way of buying very fast. The most efficient way, however, to fill up on potions is to line up your belt with the potions you want, hold shift, and then right-click to fill your belt instantly, and then remove your belt to force the potions into your inventory. After that, you can re-equip your belt and then repeat the process, and within seconds you'll have not only a full belt of potions, but a full inventory as well. To instantly transfer items to your stash or back to your inventory, hold Control and left-click the item when the stash window is open. This feature is not in the original Diablo 2 currently, but it will be available in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Okay, I want to talk about mercenaries real quick here. You can actually equip gear on your mercenary, giving them incredible damage and survivability with the right gear. To see the mercenary menu, press the O key or right-click on their portrait. If their portrait is not displayed, which sometimes happens, you can actually just press the Z key once or twice, and it should display their portrait. You can also heal your mercenary by dragging potions on their portrait or holding shift and pressing one of the belt hotkeys to instantly give them the potion in that belt slot. So usually the belt rows are 1, 2, 3, 4 to drink a potion. If you hold shift and press 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever potion is there will go right to your mercenary right away. You can also give your mercenary thawing and antidote potions, which will cure cold and poison effects to save their life, as well as giving them resistance, which is actually really great if you're trying to get them to tank for you against some of the bosses like Endariel with the antidote potions giving poison res, or Duriel, Mephisto, and Bale, where thawing potions will give your mercenary cold res. The Act 2 mercenary is by far the best choice regardless of your class and build, at least early on in the game. When equipped with a polearm or spear, their damage is absolutely unmatched early on in normal, and later on they have access to some of the best budget rune words such as Insight and Obedience. Their melee combat style allows them to tank for you, especially when equipped with lifesteal and attack speed. The Act 2 mercenary is also the only merc that provides you with an aura buff. So, to summarize, Act 2 merc is the way to go. As soon as you hit Act 2, go and hire that mercenary. Pick the aura based on what your class is. Of course, that will be in specific class guide videos again, where I recommend what merc you want to pick up. Next, we've got Runewords. Runewords are extremely powerful in Diablo 2. I'm sure everyone knows this. It's a very common saying, whether it's Enigma or Grief. So Runewords are just really great. Now, the main tip here for beginners is that when you reach the Black Marsh in Act 1, you might be like level 8 or so, something like that. When you get to the Black Marsh and you're ready to go into the tower for the quest, I highly recommend you find the waypoint in the Black Marsh before going to the tower. And once you have that, start doing tower runs for runes. A tower run is simple. You want to have the marsh waypoint so you can go to it at the beginning of every game, and then look for the tower in the Black Marsh. As soon as you get into the tower, rush straight to the 5th level to kill the Countess. The only time you really want to stop is if you actually find a boss pack, of course. Kill the boss pack, but then otherwise go straight to the Countess. The Countess is really important here because she usually drops 1 to 3 runes per kill and can drop up to a Ral rune. So in just a few runs, you'll have a great start to your character in terms of what rune words you can make and how many runes you have. So in terms of rune words, here are a couple of examples you can make simply by farming the Countess. By socketing a tier and L rune in that order, steel can be made in 2-socketed swords, axes, and maces that aren't scepters. In the right weapon, steel is a great rune word for melee characters all the way through normal. By socketing a Tal and Eth rune in that order, stealth can be made in any 2-socketed armor. The stealth rune word is easily one of the best armors for normal difficulty, regardless of class. Whenever I'm playing a spellcaster like a sorceress, it's not that uncommon where I'm running a stealth even far into nightmare or hell mode. It's that good of an armor. So these are just 2 examples of a handful of rune words you can make this early on in a character. Also, rune words do not work if the socketed item is a magic item. So keep in mind, whenever you are socketing an item with runes to make a rune word, it has to be normal quality, also known as white text in the item's name. Alright, next we've got breakpoints. Breakpoints are thresholds you need to reach in order to increase your character's animation speed. There are breakpoints for increased block speed, increased attack speed, faster hit recovery, and faster cast rate. The breakpoints are different for each class, so to keep this video short and simple, I'm going to use only faster cast rate as an example, and we'll use the sorceress as the class here in this example. Any other class and all the other breakpoints, I'll just leave for the class-specific videos. Okay, so now on this chart here, we can see the faster cast rate breakpoints for the sorceress. The breakpoints are 9 faster cast rate, 20, 37, 63, and 105. And of course, finally, 200. For each breakpoint you hit, your spells will take 1 less frame to cast, which is basically increasing your attack speed. Let's take a look at this in the game itself. In the first clip here, I'm going to cast Firebolt at level 1 with no faster cast rate items equipped. By default, most sorceress skills take 13 frames to cast. So as we mentioned earlier, the first breakpoint for the sorceress is 9, which is easily reached with a single item giving 10% faster cast rate. By reaching the 9 breakpoint with this item, casting will now go from 13 frames to 12 frames. The second breakpoint is 20, so I'm going to equip another ring here for a total of 20% faster cast rate, reducing the frames of my spells from 12 to 11. The next breakpoint here in this example is 37, so now I'm going to add 2 more items, each with 10% faster cast rate, or a single item with at least 17% faster cast rate in order to reach 37% total for the next breakpoint. It is important to note that some skills have different breakpoints. For example, all sorceress spells have the same breakpoints here I just listed, except for lightning and chain lightning. Many sorceress builds out there will aim for 105 faster cast rate for that specific 105 breakpoint, but the lightning build doesn't have 105 as a breakpoint. The lightning build has 117 because its breakpoint is not the same. Lightning actually takes more frames to cast. So if you're running a regular build, you can get away with 105 FCR, but if you're a lightning source specifically, you have to go to 117 in your gear. So that's how breakpoints basically work. It's simply whatever the breakpoints are set on the class, you need to achieve that. Now, if you have 40% cast speed, your speed is not increased by 40%, right? All you have to do is hit that breakpoint. So you will hit 37%, but the extra 3% you have doesn't do anything, at least until you hit the next threshold, which of course was 63. So it's all about hitting that specific number to increase your speed. Alright, now we've got some miscellaneous tips here, just some random tips. Keep an eye out for throwing weapons of any kind, jewels, rings, amulets, any kind of heavy armor that's not leather armor, as all of these sell for a lot of gold. Another thing that sells for a lot of gold is class items such as scepters, wands, and staves. These often sell for thousands of gold because of the class skills that are on them. If you find a magical version of this and it has no skills, place it in your cube along with 3 chipped gems of any type. Transmute it and it will reroll its stats completely, and if it rerolls with any class skills on it, you now just made an item that will suddenly sell for thousands of gold. So yeah, save all of your chipped gems in your stash, and then whenever you pick up one of these class items and it has no skills on it, throw it in the cube, easy gold, no problem. The Antidote Potion does not just cure poison for your character, it also gives you 50 poison resistances and 10 maximum poison resistance for 30 seconds. Having that extra 50 poison res on an Antidote Potion before you engage Andariel will make her fight much easier in Act 1. The Thawing Potion also does not just cure chilling effects either. It grants you 50 cold resistance and 10 maximum cold resistance for 30 seconds. So using a few Thawing Potions on you and your mercenary will make your life against Duriel, Mephisto, and Bale much easier as well. If you drink multiple stamina, antidote, or thawing potions, the duration of those potions will stack. The resistances do not stack, but if you want a thawing potion with the cold resistance to last like 5 minutes, just drink a ton of thawing potions and it will stack for you. You can shop a staff with teleport charges from Ormus in Normal Act 3, giving every class access to teleport at level 24. If you're not level 24 yet, just look for the red staves, as it will not be equipable yet until you reach level 24. Just keep in mind the staff charges are extremely expensive to repair, and the staff itself is expensive as well, so make sure you have a lot of gold if you're preparing to buy this staff for you. You can also shop a wand with life tap charges from Ormus as well in Normal Act 3. This is useful if you want massive healing on your melee character, or you want massive healing for your mercenary when he hits the target that's cursed with life tap. It's also useful to buy and save for Ubers if you're planning to make a budget smiter, but otherwise the life tap wand is just really good for those really difficult bosses. You can shop a wand with lower resist charges from Mala in Normal Act 5. This is useful for classes that rely on elemental damage. The wand itself is level 36, so it's pretty easy to look for a red wand in the shop in between your Bale and Frigid runs. It's important to keep in mind that these charge items are expensive to buy, usually costing between 40 and 150,000 gold in normal. The repair costs are often somewhere between 40,000 and 85,000 gold as well, from what I can remember. So make sure you have, again, a lot of gold when you're going through normal. Pick up all of those class items, pick up those throwing weapons, the jewelry like amulets and rings, pick up those class skills, the heavy plate armor, ring mails, chain mails, breastplates. These are all really good gold. Save up as much gold as you can, so if you plan on buying any of these charged items, it's going to help you a lot. And my last tip here, which is probably one of the best tips, the Arreat Summit website. It's been the best source of Diablo 2 information for me personally over the years. It's such a great website. I highly recommend the Arreat Summit. It's really good. You can find all the items there. You can find all the cube recipes, all the Runeword recipes. Just everything is there. All the class skills, any information you need on Diablo 2, the Arreat Summit should have it. So I will leave a link in the description below to that website. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this beginner guide to Diablo 2. I'm sure I missed some other important information, but Diablo 2 is a very heavy, in-depth game, so if you're looking for little tips like that, there's bound to be a lot that's not here, or in other video guides. If you're watching any, it's a very big game. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this beginner guide, and stay tuned for my class guides if you're looking to get more in-depth with classes, whether it's builds, anything like that. Those videos will be sometime soon. Thanks guys, as always, for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on my next videos.